me introduce you to your new defense against the dark arts teacher. Me.
Dean Tucker. Now, I don't have a cool robe like that guy or a really cool magical classroom, but I do have the stick, and it kind of looks like a wand. So if you've watched the Harry Potter franchise, then you'll be familiar with the Defense Against the Dark Arts class. If you haven't watched Harry Potter yet, what are you doing? It's like one of the best movie franchises in all of history. Go watch Harry Potter.
Your previous instruction in this subject has been disturbingly uneven. But you'll be pleased to know, from now on, you will be following a carefully structured, ministry-approved course of defensive magic.
The Defense Against the Dark Arts is one of the students' favorite classes at their time at Hogwarts. For Harry, that's mostly defending himself against Voldemort and the evil beings that he encounters along his journey, as well as these beings called Dementors, which are essentially soul suckers that feed off the bad experiences of other people. They are the guards at the prison of Azkaban, which is one of the prisons in the Wizarding World, keeping all the bad guys in there. But these Dementors will often wander off of the prison and feed on the souls of people that have had really bad experiences, Harry Potter being one of them. And so they come and attack Harry and essentially try to suck the soul, suck the life out of his body. And to me, that really just seems like a metaphor, and I don't think J.K. Rowling was intending this, or the producers of Harry Potter, but to me it seems like technology and how phones suck the soul, suck the life, suck the attention out of us. And there's actually this photographer that did a series in 2015 where it was a very similar visual experience where these people, their souls were being sucked into the phone, their life was being sucked out of them, and all of their attention was just being dragged into the small little point. And I think there's a lot of similarities in these two pieces of art. So in my lesson today, I would like to give you some tips and tricks as to how to defend yourself against the dark arts, that being social media.
Ridiculous!
Ridiculous! This class is ridiculous.
Very good.
I just want to preface that it doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. It's just about having the awareness to use it consciously. How to use social media consciously is what this is really about. All right. Abadabadabadabada.
Richter Sempra!
So before we continue, I just wanted to take a quick second to thank the sponsor of this video, and that sponsor is me, myself. My own Patreon account is the sponsor for today's video. If you enjoy my videos and you'd like to support me more, my Patreon is a wonderful place to get more behind the scenes content, to get early access to these videos, as well as an ad-free viewing experience. So if you don't want to see this ad in the middle of your video, as well as all the little YouTube ads that play at the beginning and throughout the video, then you can get all of that on my Patreon account for only $5 a month. Not only that, but I also give you access to all of my scripts and my process work into the behind the scenes of this video, and show you how I do everything, what the thinking was into making these videos. I also give you my notes on books that I've read, some book reviews, and then even dive into and discuss some of my inspirations for my creative endeavors. If any of this sounds interesting to you, the link will be down in the description. Thank you again for watching, and let's get back into the wizarding magic world. So your first step in the defense against the dark arts is to delete your social medias completely. I know this sounds pretty drastic, but if you really want to start disconnecting and make a lasting impact, the first thing you have to do is not use them for a little bit. I would encourage you to start deleting the apps from your phone for at least a week. A week is not that long. It'll go by so quickly. You'll begin to realize how much addiction you actually have to your phone. I realized I had this the first time I started doing it, where every spare moment I had, I wanted to pick up my phone and check social media. I would open my phone and scroll to open the app without even thinking about it. And by not having it there, it made me so conscious and so aware of how often I actually did that. Subconsciously, I was taking in all this shit that didn't actually benefit or add anything to my life. So the first step is just to reset completely. I think, especially in today's day and age, this is one of the healthiest things you can do just to begin the awareness, to begin the process of using social media consciously.
When it comes to the dark arts, I believe in a practical approach.
So when you feel ready, install it back on your phone. Now it's time to start jumping back into the world of social media and actually start using it very intentionally. The second thing that you're going to want to do is pay attention to the amount of time that you're spending on these apps. I know that Instagram, and I'm not sure about TikTok, but a lot of these apps have built-in timers into the apps themselves that restrict and limit you to using the app. I know that the Apple interface, I'm not sure about Samsung, but Apple allows you to set timers for apps as well. And I've tried this. I've tried all of the timers. The problem is it doesn't really work because it's so easy to just ignore them. I can't even tell you the amount of times that I was scrolling through social media and the notification popped up that your time is done for today, and it's so easy to say just one more minute, just one more minute. So that's not to say that the timers aren't helpful. I still think you should have it there just because it does give you the notification of, hey, you've spent 15 minutes already on social media, or half an hour or an hour, or whatever you set the timer to. But the second part of the timers section is, instead of just limiting the amount of time per session, limit the amount of times per day. If you can limit your social media usage, your checking of your platforms to 1 to 2 times a day, that is going to be the most beneficial. The problem starts to arise when we form the habit of checking it whenever we have a free moment. And so we never give our brains a chance to actually rest properly. We never give ourselves a chance to listen to ourselves, to listen to how we're feeling. Are we feeling hungry? Are we feeling thirsty? Are we feeling tired? Are we feeling sad? Are we feeling joyous? Are we grateful for what we are experiencing right now? Do we take notice of the place that we're in this world? Do we take notice of the people we're around? There's just so much going on around you, within your body, within your environment, that you don't pick up if you are consuming on social media. Make time a very conscious part of your consumption, and even if you have to set a timer as well, or like an alarm as an external feature to the app or the usage of your phone. If you set a 20-minute timer on your phone and the alarm goes off, then you're done. But you know you've spent that 20 minutes very intentionally, and you're like, hey, I'm here, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna be here for 20 minutes.
2, 3.
Expelliarmus!
My third lesson is to be super intentional about your use on social media. Go onto the platform with a very specific reason and go do that thing. Because more often than not, we open these apps with no intention, just to fill time in our lives. And that's when we do get lost. That's when we do get stuck scrolling for hours. That's when we do get sucked into things that we don't necessarily want to be sucked in. We inevitably do get sucked into things that we don't want to be consuming. And so having the intention to go do something is one of the most important things you can do if you do want to use social media intentionally. That's literally all this is. And so for me, it's very important to think about what I'm going to be doing before I go onto the app. And a lot of the times it sounds really silly, but I will actually say out loud what I'm going to be doing, so that it like registers with myself that, oh, okay, this is what I'm doing. Because if I don't do that, then I'll open the app, and then like after 5 seconds, 10 seconds, I'll see something else that catches my attention, and I'll forget what I went onto the app for in the first place. And then it defeats the whole purpose, and then I'm there for 5-10 minutes, and I'm like, wait, what was I doing here again? So it just like reinforces the ADHD-ness that social media already is. But if you confirm with yourself and you're like, hey, I'm going on here to upload this picture to my story, you go on, you do that, and you're done. And you get off, and you've been very intentional about it. And so you don't really allow yourself to get sucked into other avenues and rabbit holes that lead you to the bottomless pits of the internet.
Wingardium Leviosa. Stop. You're saying it wrong. It's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
Following people doesn't work anymore. This spell is all about training the algorithm to give you what you actually enjoy consuming and what you want to be consuming. And to do this, you need to engage with the content that you actually want to see. More often than not, we'll see something funny, we'll see something stupid, and so we like it, we share it, we engage with it. And this is a trigger to the algorithm to be like, oh, this person likes this kind of content, I'm gonna show them more of this thing. So it's kind of just this endless cycle where it's feeding you more and more things that you might not necessarily want to be seeing. But if you can flip the script and you can be conscious about what you are giving your attention to, your likes, your digital currency to, that's gonna show the algorithm that, hey, maybe I actually want to see more videos about cooking or about rock climbing. If it's something that's far more useful and practical to your life, something that has real value in it, if you're engaging with that, that's what the algorithm is going to show you. It's very unfortunate that following people isn't really as much of a factor anymore in social media. It's kind of sad to me because I'm like, that's the whole point of following people, but that's just how things have gone with the social media world. So
study hard and you will be rewarded. Fail to do so and the consequences may be severe.
So number 5 is to create more than you consume. I know this isn't gonna resonate with everyone because not everyone might think that they are a creator or a creative, but I truly believe that everyone is creative. It's just some people foster it and practice it more than other people. And this is a really good rule of thumb, especially if you are a creator, but I don't even think it necessarily lends itself to social media specifically. I think just in life, to be creating more than you consume is the goal. I recently heard a quote that said, "You can't consume your way to fulfillment, it can only be created." And that resonated with me so much because the more time you spend consuming, the less time you spend creating. Not only creating a piece of art, something as silly as a little drawing, but creating and building the life that you want to be building. If you are spending your time consuming endless garbage, you're not giving yourself that time to create the life that you truly want for yourself. So that is something that is super important to keep in mind. Creativa.
Avada Kedavra.
So arguably the most powerful spell in Harry Potter is Avada Kedavra. This is the spell that Snape uses to kill Dumbledore. This is the spell that Voldemort tries to use to kill Harry Potter. Avada Kedavra is the spell to end it all, the spell to kill. I want to adjust this a little bit to be Avada Kedavra of the ego. So my 6th lesson in the defense against the dark arts is to avoid comment wars at all costs. Being somewhat of an influencer, social media presence, I have put things out there that have caused quite a concern and quite controversy in the world, and people have had their opinions about it, and I've had my opinions about it, and I've tried to do it in the most nice, respectful way possible, but I have been sucked into comment wars before, and I even knew it at the time. I was like, wow, this is sucking so much life and energy out of me, and I'm like, all I can do is think about this. It's because it's drama, and our ego craves the drama. It craves being right and proving that we are right. And so we'll do whatever it takes to have an argument on the internet and prove that we are right. It sucks all of our attention into a stupid app, into a stupid comment that probably has no impact on your life. And you exclude everything else that's going on around you in your real physical space. You start to ignore loved ones, you start to ignore the needs of your own personal being, and all of your thoughts are directed towards something that is so unnecessary. It's not worth trying to be right on the internet, especially when you are having arguments over comments. You can't have an even civil debate or discussion through social media. It just doesn't really work. Kill the ego. My final spell of the day, number 7. Never use social media in public or when you're around friends or family. And this might be the hardest rule for some people. It was one of the hardest for me. I had social anxiety for the longest time. I guess I still have it to some extent, but I've worked on it quite a lot. But going on social media, going on my phone was always the easiest escape. Whenever you're in an awkward social situation, you could just go on your phone. Think about if you go in an elevator nowadays. The first thing anyone does is go on their phone just because it breaks the awkwardness. And it's like, why do we do that? Why do we avoid... Well, I know why we avoid the awkward situations, because they're awkward, but that doesn't mean we need to go on our phones to replace those awkward moments, because there's lessons and challenges to overcome in those moments that are very special. And if we constantly run away from those moments, not just being in an elevator in silence, but being at a party and you don't know anyone and you need to introduce yourself or make friends, if we run away from those moments, we're never gonna grow. The same as if we are with family and friends, and everyone's having a conversation and you're on your phone, you're missing out on life. I make it a point to really only ever check my social medias when I'm in private, when no one is around me, when I'm not going to be missing out on anything important to me.
This very minute, perhaps, dark forces attempt to penetrate this castle's walls. But in the end, their greatest weapon is you. Just something to think about.
I also want to emphasize that just by watching this video, just by learning these things, it's not going to immediately affect you. It's not going to immediately just change everything. It has taken about a year, 2 years of really intense awareness and practice around my social media practices to be where I'm at now, where I only go on social media 10-15 minutes a day. And even still, I catch myself sometimes. So I think try not to put too much pressure on yourself. See it as a long-term process, almost really in a way like a addiction recovery. It's not gonna happen overnight. You are going to have withdrawals. Obviously, it's not gonna be the same as drugs or alcohol, but in a way it kind of is. You will feel withdrawals, you'll feel urges, and I think it's very important to be aware of this and be conscious of how you're living your life. Choose how you want to live life for you. Make your own decision as to how you want to live your life. Make your own decisions for what you want to be consuming. Because these social media platforms don't care. All they're trying to do is get you to stay on the platform so that they can make more money off of you. They are trying to cipher your attention, because your attention is the most valuable thing in the world right now. So don't sell yourself out. Don't make your attention cheap. Make it very difficult for these people to get. And when they do get it, they better be giving you the most special thing that they can, because you don't deserve the trash that's out there.
Dark and difficult times lie ahead. Soon we must all face the choice between what is right and what is easy.
So those were my 7 spells on the defense against the dark arts and how to use social media more consciously. I hope that this video was helpful. I hope that you learned something. I hope that you enjoyed watching and the theme of Harry Potter was somewhat entertaining. Again, if you haven't watched Harry Potter, go check out Harry Potter. I hope that all of these spells come together to teach you your Patronus and you're now able to defend yourself equipped with these magical spells.
Now off to bed. Pip pip.